So let's talk about IELTS, which appears or seems to be the bane of so many people's lives. And in today's video, I'd really like for you to have a much more open mind and a more positive approach towards IELTS, knowing that you too can get it right, if not in your first sitting, in subsequent sittings. So attitude is going to be everything in approaching this all-important exam that we all as overseas candidates needs to sit for when we come to the UK, either to study or to work. It all depends what you're coming to do to the UK and your reasons for wanting IELTS. For some people, it's merely for professional registration. For some people, it is for studying. It varies from time to time. Let's talk about it, simplify it, and find out how we can optimize our chances of sitting for it the first time and passing, getting it right first time. If not the first time, it is not the end of the world. It's something I do not want to define you or to make you measure yourself as being a bad person or a weak person, or even see yourself as a good person or a better person because you've done well at it. It really is by no means a measure of anyone's intelligence, but it is just one of those. It can be tricky. It seems simple on the surface, but it can be tricky and quite easy to fail whilst it's so simple on the surface. Welcome to my channel, On the Cusp with Daphne. If you are new here, my name is Daphne. I'm a registered nurse, ITU background, ICU background. I work in London, South African by origin. Welcome to the channel. Consider making On the Cusp with Daphne your virtual home away from home. This is a place where evolution meets inspiration, a place where we step on the cusp with an aim of evolving from one state into a better state and stepping off the cusp as better people than what we stepped on as. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your ongoing support, for sharing the videos, for liking them, for your comments, for your interaction. It's greatly appreciated. Let's talk about IELTS and get right into it. So IELTS, or IELTS as it's commonly known, is an abbreviation for the International English Language Test System, which is in essence a system that measures or that tests your proficiency in English. And this is if you're wishing to work or study in a country where English is considered to be a primary language. You need to convince the immigration officers, the university, your registration body that you are proficient in the language of English. So the IELTS exam measures your proficiency in 4 components, which are the reading, the writing, the listening, and speaking through 2 formats. One is IELTS Academic, and the second is IELTS General Training. Whilst IELTS Academic can be undertaken by those who are wishing to pursue higher education or those who are looking for registration with professional bodies, the latter can be taken by those who are looking to travel to English-speaking countries for immigration purposes, countries such as Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the UK, needless to say. And for academic and work purposes, the USA also accepts the same. However, the focus of this video is going to be mostly on the UK requirements, particularly the NMC registration for nurses. This video is pretty much born out of necessity, really, out of numerous inquiries that I'm receiving, some of them really heartbreaking, of people who've had several attempts and feel like they've wasted so much money at sitting for the IELTS that they just don't know what to do. They're at a point of giving up, and it just really breaks my heart, really, because some of the strategies one will share here might be of help to somebody, and sometimes people are not even fully aware of some of the resources that are available, that are freely available. Some are not necessarily free, but some you need to pay for, but resources that can help ease the burden on sitting down for this exam. So let's bring the focus of the video back to the NMC requirement, which is what necessitated it in the first place anyways. So the NMC Nursing and Midwifery Council has a requirement for you to fulfill if you need to be on the register, which is proving your English proficiency through 2 ways, one of which is this IELTS, and the other one is the OET, Occupational English Test, to which I have linked the video below. So you can familiarize yourself with the video to see what is the other alternative to IELTS, which is accepted by the NMC registration for you to be on their register as a registered nurse. For NMC purposes, you're expected to have an overall score of 7 And for each component, such as reading, speaking, and listening, you need to score a minimum of band 7. And for writing, the score has been lowered slightly to a 6.5. They're accepting a 6.5, but this was after much deliberation, much discussion, that they made this concession to lower the writing score. But an overall score would be for 6.5. It's also important to note that if at your first attempt you've not been successful and you've scored an average of about 6.5 for each component, the NMC are flexible in that they will allow for you to sit within a period of 6 months, providing you meet other criteria, which I will talk about in a minute. Within a period of 6 months, have a certain sitting where, suppose you get 6.5 still, that you can put these results together, or maybe 7 or even better. You can put the two results together and hopefully score the average, that the minimum that they're looking for you to score. And yeah, if you sit within 2 months, if you sit the 4 components at the same time, each time you sit for these exams, and provided you get a minimum of 6.5 in each one of them, they will consider putting your scores together so they can give you your registration. They can issue you with your registration. So it's quite a flexible thing on their part, to be honest, to be willing to put the 2 scores from different dates together just to help you achieve the required minimum standard. By the way, it is if you sit these 2 exams within a period of 6 months, not 2. So whilst I took mine in 2016, very little has changed since that time. This was my IELTS paper, and note it is the academic paper. So it's also important to sit for the right version. Don't sit for the general when the NMC only accepts the academic. So it's important to make that distinction from the onset and remind yourself what is the purpose of you taking this IELTS. It will determine which paper you take. If it's for visa, you might sit for the general. Visa purposes, you'll sit for the general. But if it's for the professional body registration, such as the NMC, your academic will be the correct one to take. May I at this point ask you to show your support for the channel by subscribing, by clicking like, by sharing this video at the end once you finish watching it with someone who might benefit from it, as well as commenting below, giving it a thumbs up. I really appreciate your support as we proceed with the IELTS exam. Whilst we all have different styles of studying and preparing and learning any content whatsoever, IELTS is no different. You will find as you prepare for it, you choose to stick to your own preferred method of study. But I think sharing tips, hearing tips from people who've done it, who've gotten it right, might also help facilitate your journey as to how you prepare for this exam, or how you can help prepare better for this exam. So if there's any takeaway from this video, it will be for you to get into the habit of practicing. Practice, practice, practice. Don't leave this until you're sitting in front of an examiner. Don't go and practice in front of an examiner because you've been practicing in your head so much so that you feel like you're ready, but you've never really seen yourself or heard yourself or tested yourself, seen your written work. So start doing all this work on your own. There's a whole lot of material. At the end of the video, I'm going to link 1 or 2 pages of some of the practice material that I purchased from the British Council. I just went for the very basic, simple. I don't remember spending a lot of money for this material, but it did help me a great deal, because what it did, it not only familiarized me with the layout of the questions, the layout of the papers, what do they look like, how are the questions asked, it just also prepared me on the level of preparation that I needed to do. It helped me to speed up my writing. It helped me to estimate how many words I could write in an X period of time just by learning to practice through this material that I'm going to post for you at the end of the video. So invest in some study material, as well as there's a whole lot of content online, obviously, on the IELTS. Just make sure it's British Council certified, it's Cambridge University certified, because there's a whole lot of practice material, but make sure you are practicing with the right material. I will link mine, a couple of the pages anyway, so you can browse over and see how it helped me and how you can also benefit from that. Now, what really broke my heart is this is just amongst many messages that I get with regards to IELTS, and it made me realize that it's worth sharing some of the information that one has in their possession. It might help somebody. So this message came through on the 9th of March. It says, "Morning, Daphne. My name is X. I got your number from my friend Y. I'm a registered nurse and I actually bought a ticket to come to the UK. So she thought you might be able to help, and I've been trying to get a good IELTS score, but it's just not happening. I'm kind of desperate to leave the country, just hoping to get a job when I get there." So it goes on and goes on. It talks about personal stuff, but I'll leave it at that. So how can you receive this kind of content and not be willing to share what helped you with people in a similar situation? I really am hoping this person will get some assistance and benefit from this. She is qualified, she's a nurse. It's just a little thing to stand in a way of somebody who's already qualified and skilled. I would really love to see them get their IELTS score and get their registration together and taking advantage of them opportunities that I will be posting, especially for registered nurses on this channel. There will be more of those to come, similar to the one on this video below that I've linked about specific jobs currently ongoing recruiting for nurses, for which I'm saying get in touch with me, email me, give me your details so I can pass them on. So yes, such emails, it's one of many that I receive. Sometimes it's just phone calls of people who are just desperate and feeling like they're at their wit's end with the IELTS exam. It shouldn't be the case. It needn't be the case. There is so much support and help out there. Stay tuned. So as the old adage goes, if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it, right? We know that. So in the spirit of improving what you already possess in terms of proficiency of English, it may just be a good thing to invest in a book where you're going to keep on writing, reading, listening to tapes. You don't listen to a book, but yeah, I'm just saying, keep track of your progress from the get-go so you can measure yourself and see where you are. We live in a beautiful era of digital era where you can actually record yourself. It doesn't have to be long recordings. Record yourself reading, record yourself speaking, listen to your own audibility, listen to how you pronounce words, and check in with somebody whom you think might be of assistance to be able to give you feedback. Also, on the British material that I talked about the revision, there are also marking sheets. So mark yourself and understand how you're doing and compare as you progress, whether your mark is improving, whether you're getting better, or whether you're the same. You know yourself better than anyone else. In terms of practice, when it comes to speaking, these things come by doing. In your head, you might be communicating in English, but until you start saying these words out loud regularly, it could be that you start speaking to your children, your loved ones, in English because perhaps there isn't an opportunity for you to do so elsewhere. They will thank you later. Just don't mind their attitude. Don't mind them thinking you're a weirdo. They will thank you later because you know that you are on a mission. How else are you going to do this? Speak to yourself. Practice in front of a mirror. Practice on your phone so you can assess and be objective in how you evaluate yourself. This is just one of those work in progress things that you're going to constantly have to do. So this is for speaking. Speak regularly, speak all the time in this language so you are not intimidated when you're standing in front of an examiner and you know that you have to deliver a result. It becomes less intimidating and it becomes something that is within your comfort zone. I'm sure we'll all agree that speaking goes hand in hand with listening. So for me, the challenge was listening when I sat for my IELTS. I found I really enjoyed the rest of the other parts, but listening was a challenge, not because they were speaking fast or because of their accents, but just because of my focus. My mind was wandering. A few times I left that audio tape and my mind just went elsewhere and I'd come back after a few minutes. I still did well for it. But I feel like if there's any advice I can give somebody is to focus your mind, because as soon as you miss however many seconds of that clip, when you come back, you're kind of preoccupied with what you missed more than listening to the ongoing tape. The tape continues to play, and now you are missing double because you missed what you missed originally, and now you are missing what's playing now because you're thinking about what you just missed. So if you happen to have that spell where your mind wanders for a bit, make sure when you come back, you just tune in to where it is and continue listening. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter what you missed, but try not to miss anything. Listen to that whole tape because the answers are in the tape. They will ask you what you heard. They will ask you what was said in the tape. So by allowing your mind to wander, our minds are very difficult to control and stay in one place. They might just say one word that triggers you and sends your mind elsewhere. So I found for me that was the only part I can say I struggled with, even though at the end I passed it. So yes, keep your mind focused. It's good to know these things ahead of the time. I came across such stuff for the first time. For some reason, I wasn't adequately prepared for the listening. I didn't think I had to focus my mind all that much until I was sitting with the tape. So yeah, that's one advice I can give you. And this you can also do by listening actively to the people that you will be communicating with on a daily basis. Start practicing. Most of us are not active listeners. So it's a beautiful skill to possess, but it's again work in progress. We identify these as people, and these are things I'm one of those people who is working on that, just being an active listener and not interrupting people when they're talking. And I'm working hard at that, but just try and incorporate that in your daily life, just so it's not something you're practicing for the first time. As well as this, start having audio clips as well. Just go to the audio clips online that are Cambridge accredited, British Council accredited. Listen to these clips, follow the questions, and see how much you heard and whether you heard the right thing. If you understood, even you may have heard, but did you understand? Do you have any comprehension of what is said? So make use of the material that's available online. As far as reading is concerned, again, this is something that you need to practice doing on a regular basis. Read, and read out loud. Record yourself when you're reading so you can hear how you're pronouncing these things, so you can hear how you're punctuating and find a way to improve on those things. And so you can hear which words you have difficulty pronouncing and start practicing these words. And I think through reading, you will be somewhat prepared for writing, because it's through reading that you see more vocabulary, more words, which may be applicable for your speaking, for your writing. And it's through reading that your spelling will also be automatically corrected. You see a word when you're reading, you kind of think, oh, well, is this how it's spelled? You know when you write this word, how to write it. You know when you speak this word, how to say it. So reading is essential, but then again, choose carefully what you're reading. Read newspapers, choose the good ones, not the gossip ones with very poor quality English. You're going to write an academic paper. You want to come across as an academic when you speak, when you write. You want to present your content in a neutral tone. You want to give neutral facts rather than just basing your facts on very superficial thinking or a superficial way of communication. Just go a little bit deeper and formalize your way of speaking, your way of writing. Find a way, because remember now, this is an academic paper you're writing. I'm not trying to get you to feel intimidated, but I'm saying take it a little bit more seriously. Don't be reading the gossip column and the tabloids, and just find quality material. Even go on that same British website, British Council website, where you will find good articles and good passages to read through, and time yourself. How fast can you read? When you're reading, have you understood? How's your comprehension during this reading? So again, back to the P word, practice, 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 yet again. Then comes writing, which you need to write on any subject that you will be given. So writing, in terms of writing, I would advise you to check things such as your spelling. We've talked about spelling. Legibility is an issue. I had to write very slow because of my legibility issues. So make sure what you wrote is legible. You don't want an examiner coming back to you to keep on asking you every second word, what did you write here? So make a point that they can read what you've written. So get into the habit of just writing different articles. Challenge yourself and see how many words can you write, because you will be given essays. One might be for 250 words on a particular topic. So it's important that you get into the habit of writing and go to town, elaborate, have a creative mind. Just because it's a topic you don't know anything of, it's not adequate to just write 15 words and give up. You need to just think out of the box and be creative and play with it and really go to town with what is being said. It could well be that sometimes you need to give an opinion on something, which can also be quite easy to talk about something, forgetting to give your opinion. It's still very important to say, I'm of the view that 1, 2, 3, I strongly believe blah, blah, blah. So remember, if something is asking for your opinion, it's important that you give an opinion. Base all your facts and all the statements you're quoting as a way of your opinion, rather than just stating facts and remaining neutral, sitting on the fence and not stating whether you negate or you agree with a given topic. And of course, it is in writing that your ability to describe things, to summarize, to analyze data will be assessed. You may find in this section of the assessment, you get presented with graphs or pie charts or something to that effect, data that you're needing to analyze. You need to describe and say what you're seeing in front of you. Is this an incline graph? Is this decline? Did it plateau at any point? Depending on what information you get given, your ability to describe, to summarize, to analyze data will be tested in this session, as I said, which lasts about 60 minutes. The allocated time for reading is also 60 minutes, where you will find 60 descriptive questions for you to answer. It is ample time, but management thereof is very important. Don't dwell on something. If you feel you are not ready for the answer, just move along and move to the next one. But it's in this session that also it's thought that questions are asked in chronological order according to the passage, in a sequential manner. So if the first paragraph covered a certain aspect or had the first answer, your second answer is likely going to be below that one. It's unlikely that the subsequent questions will be based before the first answer to make you go back and forth in your corridor. So if you follow the passage when you are reading, the questions are also likely going to follow in the same format that the passage is flowing. So it's during the stage of reading that you're going to highlight things that are jumping out at you, such as dates, people's names, events, because most likely they will be referred to in the assessment question within these 40 questions. Speaking is the one with the least allocated amount of time, which is 15 minutes. You will be given a topic and be given 2 minutes to prepare for this topic and talk about it. It could be anything, seriously, family, vacation, animals, anything. So for example, you might be asked, you might be given a topic to talk about animals or something like that. So this is not the time when you start saying you don't have animals or you don't like it and just leave it at that. You just need to find a creative way of speaking to say, maybe actually I grew up in an environment where I was raised in a farm and I grew up with my grandmother. There were lots of animals around. I actually missed that time because now I've moved to a big city and I live in a small flat where pets are not allowed, and I actually miss. Find a way. The whole point is just to see you talking, be creative with the truth on this occasion. I think it is the one time where you're allowed to be creative with the truth, because you cannot just be given a topic and say, oh, well, I've never been on vacation, so I don't know what to tell you. Think about it. Imagine what you want to happen. Don't lie about being on vacation, but just envision what you'd like to see or what you'd like to happen, or your imagination of what a vacation entails. So talk about such things. Think out of the box, or think as if there was none at all. And the 30 minutes is dedicated to listening, which could be on anything, be it everyday life and whatever else really that they choose to make you to listen to. And then questions will be based off that extract. So as I said previously, focus is key when it comes to listening. So yes, go onto the website. I'm going to link a few of the study materials from the British Council, nowhere else but the British Council. But I see even on YouTube, there's a whole lot of material on IELTS and preparation. Do not be intimidated by this exam. It probably on video sounds a little bit intimidating and exhaustive than it actually is. I believe if you take time, invest time first before you invest your money, invest time in preparation. It's important that you give yourself a realistic timeline and just don't keep on procrastinating, waiting to be ready. I think by finding a suitable date for yourself, it will help you to up your game in terms of preparation. But for as long as you keep on procrastinating and delaying, it might take forever and take longer than it should do because you are waiting for that moment of perfection, which is elusive, which is the holy grail. Just boost your confidence when you feel ready. When you feel confident, go and sit for one. I am wishing you the very best. I am hoping at this point that without even me asking you to, you have already subscribed to the channel. You are intending to share this video with someone. You are going to give it a thumbs up, and thank you for your time. I shall see you on the next one.